Hello and welcome to Matt's B-Movie Reviews, the show that looks at cult films that may have escaped your radar. So a recent trip to my Poundland has once again proved fruitful as I've discovered a movie that has got me absolutely buzzing with excitement. A movie presented in nothing less than 3D. Ooh. So hold on to your specs and prepare for my review of Night of the Living Dead 3D Reanimation. Here's the plot. Gerald Tover runs a small town mortuary. Unfortunately, it has a slight problem. And can you guess what that is? There's been a zombie epidemic. Oh, the dead are returning to life. Why couldn't you guess that? As if that isn't bad enough, Gerald's butler Harold turns up wanting a share of their dead father's estate. Cue some sibling rivalry and some CGI zombie head splats and you've basically got a movie. Yeah. So why such a short synopsis, you ask? That's because this movie is pretty much in a nutshell not too good. I mean, there are plenty of scenes and characters in the movie, like the mortician and her assistant, and also the handyman guy who smokes weed on the side, but they pretty much amount to nothing but padding to keep this movie up to a decent amount of time. So why did I even bother buying this film? I know it was £1, so that was obviously one deciding factor. However, the chance to see one of my cult favourite actors, Jeffrey Combs, in this movie was more than I could pass up, as I'm quite a massive fan of him in the Reanimator films. We can bring him back to life. And if you've never seen the Reanimator films, you obviously don't have a clue what I'm talking about. Plus there was the actor Andrew Divoff who plays Gerald Tovar, who is also the Wishmaster. I grant wishes. He actually plays a solid role as the slightly grizzled mental mortician. However, that wasn't enough to save this movie. I felt like Jeff and Andrew played their parts pretty well overall, but unfortunately even with both these cult heavyweights they couldn't elevate a subpar script from the depths of hell that it clearly existed within. It's funny actually, Andrew's character Gerald pretty much sums up the movie in one scene where he describes how he had to set up a stationary camera to record the recently deceased to see when they came back to life. He simply states, when they come back slow. Just like this goddamn movie. Too slow for me, I'm afraid. The movie is about as slow paced as they come, and without a lot of zombies running around for big chunks of the movie, what the hell are we supposed to be watching this for? Now, the 3D element had me pretty excited, and the chance to get a movie like this for £1 was obviously an amazing deal, as I thought at the time. I was expecting a movie that was tongue-in-cheek, like something like Planet Terror, but that's not what I found. To go along with the slow plot of the movie, the 3D element was actually pretty rubbish, to be fair. There were a few scenes where there was a candle burning close to the screen and the smoke looked like it was wafting out, and a few scenes with flies going around the corpses that looked pretty cool. And actually, since we've got a load of midges flying around in Scotland, I was wondering if they was actually in the room with me at the time. I feel like they really missed the ball on the whole 3D element altogether. There wasn't even many scenes of the old stab you in the eye trick like this. Thought I was going for you then, didn't you? In fact, I think there was only one short sequence where a zombie actually turned its grotesque face towards the lens and leered at me. The makeup looked pretty good, but that was about it, to be honest, so whatever. After watching the movie, I searched YouTube for 3D horror movies and was pleasantly surprised to find out that the original Romero Night of the Living Dead had been converted into 3D with the old type specs. And I pretty much sat and watched the entire movie, which was a hell of a lot more enjoyable than this tosh. So if you happen to have a pair of these lying around, I'll put the link just here for the Romero 3D Night of the Living Dead, so I recommend checking it out. Now, going back to Night of the Living Dead 3D Reanimation, firstly I want to say I'm always annoyed when I hear about these dodgy knockoffs that try to piggyback on an already established brand. Night of the Living Dead is obviously well within the public domain, so these filmmakers, and many more I imagine, have the rights to just call any zombie movie Night of the Living Dead. When will the madness end? Now I can only assume that the reanimation part was tacked on as a reference to Jeff Combs in the Reanimator movies, which really is a very sly tactic for the filmmakers and the marketing department to do to sell the movie to the audience. It just seems like a pointless title ad, and I'm sure they could have thought of a better title that would have gone with the actual theme of the movie. A much better title for this movie would have been Night of the Living Dead 3D Crapola, which pretty much sums up the entire film. So I'm going to give this movie 2 blood splats out of 5. Wait a second. No, in fact, take 1 blood spat off because the 3D element was just crap. So that's 1 blood spat for a £1 movie from Poundland. You get what you pay for. And if you're a glutton for punishment, here's the trailer. Okay, so thanks for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Into a full William Shatner